here's a video on the angle between two vectors. We've used the law of cosines to be able to derive another formula for the dot product. On a previous video, you can learn about the law of cosines and deriving that formula. So what we have in this figure 6.64 is two vectors. The first vector is vector v as a linear combination, and then vector w also as a linear combination. You can find that dot product using that formula, or the new formula below allows you to find the angle between the two vectors. So here is the formula for the angle between two vectors. So you can use this formula here. The cosine of angle theta equals the dot product of the two vectors divided by the product of the two magnitudes, or written as such, it's just changing that equation to the cosine inverse. So we're going to go ahead and do an example. So find the angle between the two vectors. So I have vector v. So here's vector v. And then here's vector w. And we want to find out what is the angle theta between them. So to help out, I did create the graph here for you so you can see the visualization. So we're going to go ahead and use that formula on the previous slide. So I'm going to write the formula down. The cosine of angle theta equals the dot product of the two vectors divided by the magnitude of vector b, the length of vector b, times the magnitude of vector w. So here we go. So we're going to first do the dot product. If you remember, you're going to multiply a and a together. So a sub 1 and a sub 2 together. So 3 times negative 1 plus the b's together. So here's b sub 1, here's b sub 2. Over the length of the vector. So here's vector v. We want to find the length of that. So we've done that in a previous video. So we're going to use our formula. And what you do is you multiply the a term. So here's your a term, a length of 3. And you square it plus the b value, negative 2. Square it, add them together, and then square root it. Times, do the same thing again for vector w. You're going to take the a term and square it, add it to the b term, and square it. Now the rest is simplification. So 3 times negative 1 in the numerator is negative 3, plus negative 2 times 4 in the numerator is negative 8. Down to the denominator, square root, 3 squared is 9, negative 2 squared, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, multiply, square root, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16. All right, continue back to the numerator. Negative 3 plus negative 8 is negative 11. Denominator, 9 plus 4 is 13. 11 plus 16 is 17. Then we'll multiply those denominators together. So 13 times 17 is 221. Now what we have to do next is use inverse trig, because this is saying the cosine of angle theta equals that fraction. So now we need to use our calculator. So you say theta equals the cosine inverse of that fraction. And you're going to type that into your calculator. So just go ahead and pause and do this yourselves. All right. So here we go. Make sure your calculator is on degree mode. You're going to say cosine inverse of negative 11 divided by the square root of 221. Move that cursor to the right and then finish off that parentheses. And then enter. And what you're going to get is an angle that is about 137.7 degrees. So this angle right here is 137.7 degrees between those two vectors.